You are watching our Mysterious Body channel, where we simply and inaccessible way tell you what is our body, how it works, as well as variety of interesting facts about it. Here you can subscribe to our channel. And now we'll try to tell you about things that so many people care about. What is fat? What we can do to remove excess fat from the body if we want to, and how it happens. And also you will learn about possibility to remain fat on one part of the body, for example hands or legs, and burning it on another part, for example torso. You can imagine our body as a whole country, and trillions of inhabitants live there, who are called cells. Every day, every hour, every second, the inhabitants of this country are doing their job for which they are intended, as people do something in accordance with their profession. Cells, as well as humans, eat, relax, work, or even go to the toilet. And what is fat in the human body? Everything is very simple. Fat is a warehouse with reserves for our country's inhabitants, cells. And quantity of cells in our bodies are much more than the Chinese and Indians together. Fat is like a reserves of Ministry of Emergency Situations. If some disasters happened, and our body's Ministry of Emergency Situations every day replenishes these reserves carefully and thoroughly. Yes, about how do they replenish the warehouses we'll discuss in another video. Well then, you ask, and what is such an emergency for our body? What will cause the Ministry of Emergency of our body to distribute their precious reserves? This is hunger. When the inhabitants of our cell country become nothing to eat and their life becomes joyless and tense. And so, in our cell country, a famine declared. Social services signal to the central government that the people have almost eaten their food and they need support. The government decides to organize the supply of the citizens in order to prevent mass death of its inhabitants. But there is the rub. There are warehouses near the cities where dry rations for the army are stored, which you can quickly and easily cook and eat. And there are Ministry of Emergency warehouses. They are much farther away from the city, but with excellent, high-grade nutritional products. Army warehouses are our muscles. Emergency warehouses farther from the cities are our fat. And what about the army? So it's peacetime, army rests almost are in the reserve, where the government decides to supply the inhabitants mostly with dry rations, easy to deliver and convenient to eat, and from distant warehouses they will carry a little, so as not to have been very expensive. What? The army is preparing to repel various threats and is training actively? Well, so the government has no choice than to supply the army with dry rations from near warehouses, and the population of our cell country are to be supplied with products from distant emergency warehouses. Nothing can be done. The government doesn't want revolutions and mass death from hunger in the country. And how the provision supply works in this country? With the help of an integrated transport system, a network of roads called blood. And here lies the greatest mystery, which discovery will tell us answers for our questions. How can the government bring the information and orders to supply the population with food? Unfortunately, this system works in the old, and there is no internet here. When there is a need to deliver food aid to the population of our cell country, printed orders and directives are loaded into aircrafts and scattered from the air directly on all the roads, and passing cars and the wind carries the cloud of papers in the surrounding area. Yes, kind of a postal system. The territory of all warehouses is very well protected. There are guards constantly on duty and they regularly patrol the warehouses. And when they suddenly see a flying piece of paper, the order, they grab it and run to the authorities to report. Then the authorities decide. If the directive concerns of that warehouse, they give the order to deliver provisions to the central warehouse for distribution. If the directive does not concern of that warehouse, it is simply discarded. And it is happening in all warehouses simultaneously. Now you see that the peculiarity of orders distribution system in our cell country does not allow delivering food to our cells only from certain warehouses, for example only from the left hand or right leg. If cells need help, it is going from all the warehouses simultaneously. But from what kind of warehouses will go the aid to our cells depends on you. If you want to spend reserves with the best and most nutritious food from distant warehouses of our Ministry of Emergency Situations, this is our fad. Ensure employment of the army, our muscles, and do not overload the emergency warehouses with new reserves to replace those that were taken. Follow the diet. But remember, the army must feel needed. It must work hard but not taking a walk in the shooting range for a picnic. After all, what is army? Army is force. Accordingly, training with weights will allow the army not to get bored, and the bigger is army, the greater the supplies it needs, and our emergency reserves will go there too. Also, all of that is true if the systems are working properly. In case of any failures, the printing house has printed orders with errors, the printing house was out of paper, warehouse guard fell asleep, and so on. Things can go differently. But about system crashes, as well as how our warehouses are replenished, we'll talk in another video. And that's all. Subscribe, like and stay tuned for new stories about our amazing body. See you!